Every parent eventually faces the moment their child demands a pet. It's as certain as scraped knees and stalling at bedtime. Most parents get lucky. Their kids beg for hamsters spinning in plastic balls or cats that sleep through the day. Maybe a playful puppy that destroys a few shoes before learning better tricks. Quinn's son wants a wolf. Not a dog with wolf-like features. Not some exotic hybrid. A real, wild, predatory wolf pup he somehow convinced to trail him home. She should refuse. Obviously. What mother allows her 10-year-old to keep a dangerous apex predator? The kind whose son hasn't smiled in months. And the kind who has no idea that the wolf is actually a 9-year-old little girl. In Quinn's defense, she was too busy worrying about fleas and parasites. What she should have been worried about was the girl's father, an alpha whose blood turns cold at the thought of a human near his daughter. A father tracking his child's scent across miles of forest, straight to Quinn's front door. A man ready to tear down walls, shatter bones, and unleash devastation to get her back. Please, Mommy, can we keep him? Quinn stares at her son's pleading eyes as he holds the furry creature tightly against his chest. The pup is oddly still, watching her with an almost human gaze. He's so well behaved, Mom, Jeremy argues, his voice buzzing with more energy than she'd heard from him in months since they moved to Pine Haven. Look, he's quiet and obedient. He won't bother the guests at all. Baby, Quinn begins, crossing her arms. How did you even find it? Jeremy pouts. Quinn rolls her eyes. Mom, my radar beats military surveillance, she says flatly. Especially when my 10-year-old starts raiding the kitchen and whispering to his closet. Well, you have to admit he's been really good, Jeremy insists, pulling the animal closer. He's been here 2 days already. What? Quinn's eyebrows shoot up. I mean, 2 hours. Jeremy clears his throat, adjusting his crooked glasses. And you never once heard him bark, right? That's a really great dog. Quinn sighs, brushing her short brown hair away from her face. She knows Jeremy is struggling at his new school. He never complains, that's just who he is. But she notices the quiet afternoons, the way he avoids talking about friends. Jeremy never asks for anything. Ever. She has nothing against dogs either. Always wanted one herself, honestly. The problem is simple. Baby, this isn't a dog. Quinn crouches to the creature's level. Jeremy blinks. Looks at the pup. Looks back at her. Pretty sure it's a wolf, Quinn says, studying the sharp muzzle, the thick fur, and the unmistakable wildness in its amber eyes. Where did you find it? In the woods behind the playground, Jeremy says. He was hurt. See? He lifts a tiny bandage on the animal's front paw. I used the first aid kit from the bathroom. Sweetheart, you can't just bring wild animals home, Quinn reasons. They carry diseases and parasites. I checked for ticks, Jeremy cuts in. That's not. Please, Mom. His voice cracks. He needs me. The wolf, because Quinn is absolutely certain it's a wolf, tilts its head and whimpers softly, gazing up at her with enormous sorrowful eyes. A deliberate performance, if Quinn didn't know better. Her resolve crumbles. Damn it. The phone rings downstairs. Its sharp tone echoes through the old Victorian house. That's Meg. I'll be right back, Quinn says, heading for the door. But what about Fangs? Jeremy calls after her. Quinn stops. Turns. You named it Fangs. He's got good ones, Jeremy replies. Quinn sighs. It can stay tonight. Just tonight. And after that? Jeremy asks, eyes glowing with hope. Haven't decided, Quinn says firmly, heading downstairs toward the inn below. The front desk phone is ringing endlessly, and she can already hear Meg's frantic voice trying to calm someone down. Quinn rushes through the hallway lined with Pine Haven postcards. Finally! Meg exclaims as Quinn appears in the lobby, receiver wedged between her ear and shoulder, frantically clicking through the outdated computer system. There's a double booking for room 3 this weekend. System shows the Andersons arriving Friday, but I've got Mrs. Miller on the phone. Quinn takes the phone and sorts it out within minutes. Crisis handled, she says, eyeing the pile of bills on the counter. Now on to my Jeremy crisis. What Jeremy crisis? Meg asks. Kid's a saint, unlike his mother. Quinn glares. The saint brought home a wolf pup. A wolf. Meg's voice jumps an octave. A pup, Quinn corrects. Meg narrows her eyes. Please tell me you're not letting him keep it. Just for tonight. Meg's jaw drops. Wolves are dangerous, Quinn. Not appropriate for a child, or an inn. I know, okay? But you should have seen his face, Meg. First real smile in months. Get him a Nintendo like every normal parent, Meg argues. With what money? Quinn sighs. At least the wolf is free. Oh no. Meg groans. You're going to let him keep it. I haven't decided anything, Quinn protests. Then, quieter, but just so you know, it's really, really cute. She looks around the front office. The vintage check-in desk she refinished herself. The hand-painted welcome sign. The antique key rack from her great-aunt. 3 months of exhausting work turning this old family property into a working business, barely staying afloat. And now her son wants to add a wolf. Jeremy sits cross-legged on his bedroom floor, laying out strips of beef jerky beside his new pet. It's going to be okay, he whispers. Mom said you can stay for now. Once she really gets to know you, she'll let you stay forever. Fangs tilts her head, eyes fixed on his face. You're a great listener, Jeremy says, smiling. It's nice having someone around who doesn't interrupt or mock his glasses. Suddenly Fangs yelps, a sharp, almost human sound, and darts across the room, diving into Jeremy's closet. Fangs! Jeremy stands, confused. Rustling. Thumping. Then silence. Is she hurt? Did she go in there to have an accident? Taking a slow breath, Jeremy edges toward the closet. Hello. His voice comes out embarrassingly squeaky. He yanks the door open. Wrapped in his favorite blue sweater, clutching it around herself like a makeshift dress, is a girl. A girl who absolutely was not there before. Jeremy screams. The girl screams right back. What are you doing here? Jeremy demands. Where's Fangs? He scans the small closet. Winter boots, rain jacket. No wolf. Where is he? He asks again, staring at her. She has wild red hair that reminds him of Fang's fur, scattered freckles across her nose and cheeks, and looks roughly his age, maybe a little younger. He left, the girl tries, biting her lip. What? Where? Jeremy checks the closet again. Empty, except for his things and this strange girl. He looks at the girl. Then the closet. Then the girl again. Fine. I'm Fangs. The girl throws her hands up. Jeremy blinks. You're what? I'm him. The wolf. Well, I was always a girl. I change forms, not genders, she adds, as if this is the most critical detail. You change forms. It's honestly shocking that you can't tell a female wolf from a male, the girl says, tugging the sweater tighter. Don't they teach you anything at human school? Human school. Jeremy echoes. Whatever you call it. She shrugs. Look, I can prove it. You fed me beef jerky and saltine crackers yesterday. You said your mom would be mad if she knew you were sneaking food from the kitchen. She points to his copy of The Lion, The Witch, and the wardrobe on the nightstand. Jeremy's eyes go wide. Who are you? My real name is Eva. She extends her hand like a tiny adult, which Jeremy finds both odd and impressive. Eva Keane. He shakes it automatically, brain still lagging behind. But how? I'm a shifter, Eva explains, settling on the edge of his bed like she owns it. Part human, part wolf. I can switch between both forms. Why didn't you just say that from the start? Jeremy asks, though thinking back to when he scratched behind her ears makes him cringe. I can't speak in wolf form, obviously. Okay, then why didn't you shift back sooner? Eva's expression shifts to embarrassment. I've been having some trouble switching back lately, she mumbles. What kind of trouble? Her head snaps up. It's not a problem. It's completely normal for shifters my age. She lifts her chin defensively. Jeremy decides not to push it. He's still processing everything else. So you're both wolf and human at the same time? Yes, Eva says carefully. Jeremy stares. Then, that is so cool. Eva's face breaks into a wide grin. Right. She sits up straighter, practically glowing. Can I become a shifter too? He asks eagerly. No. You have to be born one, Eva says in a tone suggesting she finds him slightly dim. What about if you bite me? Like in the movies. That would kill you, she says matter-of-factly. Jeremy gulps. Eva notices. Don't worry. I won't bite you. It's forbidden. By who? By our alpha. Obviously. Right. Jeremy nods, then pauses. What's an alpha? Eva's eyes go wide. You don't know what an alpha is. She straightens up. The alpha is the pack leader. The strongest, fastest, most powerful wolf in the entire pack. Everyone obeys him. He protects everyone, makes all the major decisions, and can command other wolves with just his voice. Wow, Jeremy breathes. Is he nice? Eva blinks at him several times. He doesn't have to be nice, she says slowly. He's the alpha. She pauses. Although, he does tell really good bedtime stories. But not lately. Your alpha tells bedtime stories. Jeremy had pictured some enormous wolf warrior. The image doesn't quite fit. Not normally, Eva chuckles. But he does with me, because he's my daddy. Jeremy thinks she probably should have mentioned that sooner, but he doesn't have an alpha or a father, so what does he know? You probably need to go back to him, don't you? He asks hesitantly. Eva shakes her head firmly. Definitely not. The alpha will be furious. I broke pack law when I ran. In the old days, wolves were banished for less. But he's your dad, Jeremy protests. His alpha first, dad second, Eva says bitterly. Always has been. Jeremy is quiet for a moment. It's not your fault you can't shift back, you know. You did your best. My best isn't enough, Eva mutters. Other wolves my age have no trouble at all. I'm a pretty terrible shifter. That is not true, Jeremy says firmly. You're incredibly cool. I'd do anything to be able to do what you do. Eva smiles, small, hesitant. You really mean that? Obviously, Jeremy says. Can you show me how you shift? Eva nods, closes her eyes, face scrunching in concentration. For a moment, nothing happens. Then suddenly, where the girl had been sitting, there is a small sandy-colored wolf pup. Wow, Jeremy breathes. Fangs. That's the coolest thing I've ever seen. Eva gives a happy little yip, tail wagging like crazy. Oh my God, I have to tell Mom. Eva barks sharply and backs away, shaking her head. You don't want me to tell her? Jeremy asks. But why? Eva just looks at him, those amber eyes somehow managing to look desperate. Okay, I won't tell her. Our secret, he promises. We should take Fangs to the vet today, Quinn says the next morning, pouring milk over Jeremy's cereal. Get her checked out. Jeremy's spoon freezes midway to his mouth. Fangs is a girl, he says, ignoring the rest. Quinn leans against the kitchen counter, studying her son. Everything okay at school, honey? Jeremy gives her a confused look. Mom, it's Saturday. Generally, I mean. How are things going? His eyes slide away from hers. Fine. Quinn opens her mouth to press further when her alarm goes off. Breakfast service starts in 15 minutes. Darn it. I have to go. Want to bring your homework to the dining room? I should stay with Fangs, Jeremy says, reaching down to scratch the pup's ears. She'd be lonely. Quinn wants to insist, but Mrs. Henderson from room 4 gets positively feral if her coffee isn't ready by 7. Guilt follows Quinn as she ties her apron. Back in Portland, Jeremy had friends, not many, but a few. Here in Pine Haven, he seems lonelier than ever. But when her grandmother Mabel died and left Quinn this rambling Victorian she'd grown up in, it had seemed like a miracle. Running her own inn instead of managing someone else's. A lifelong dream. Except, at what cost? Her son's happiness. The dining room fills quickly with weekend guests. Quinn slides pancakes onto the buffet and begins refilling coffee cups. Minutes later, Meg's unmistakable high-pitched flirting laugh rings out from the lobby. Quinn turns. Meg is at the reception desk talking to a tall man with his back to the room. Even from behind, something about him catches her attention. Broad shoulders under an expensive suit, dark hair trimmed neatly at the nape of his neck. The way he carries himself, that confident, unhurried stance, pulls her focus like gravity. Something in that posture feels familiar. She steps closer, coffee pot still in hand. The man shifts slightly, reaching out to take a pen from Meg, long fingers, elegant and strong. The pot nearly slips from Quinn's hand. The clatter as she sets it down too hard sounds distant, like she's underwater. No, it can't be. But as the man half turns to sign something, Quinn sees his profile, and the ground disappears beneath her. Those hands. She knows exactly how they felt, tracing patterns on her skin. Gentle and possessive all at once. She takes a sharp breath, eyes moving to the strong line of his jaw, the curve of his mouth. Her heart hammers hard enough to feel in her throat. The man turns fully, and their eyes meet. Amber eyes. His eyes. Eyes that once looked at her like she was the answer to every question he ever had. To his credit, they widen for only a second before his expression locks shut. But Quinn catches the tension that stiffens his shoulders immediately. How dare you, she thinks. Why are you tense? You're the one who left. She walks closer on trembling legs and hears herself ask, "May I help you?" She genuinely doesn't know how she's forming words. Because standing before her for the first time in 10 years is Mason Keene, the love of her life. Or so she believed. Because while she was falling completely in love, his family was arranging his betrothal elsewhere. While she imagined their future together, he already had one planned, one that didn't include her. Quinn. Meg says brightly. Mr. Keene wants to book a room. Her friend looks flushed and excited, which makes Quinn want to bite through her own cheek. I'm afraid we're fully booked, Quinn says coolly. No, we're not, Meg says, confused. Mason just watches Quinn. Hasn't spoken a single word. His eyes. She thought she remembered their exact color. But her memory hadn't done them justice. She hates that. How long will you be staying, sir? Meg asks, still batting her eyelashes. His taken. Quinn wants to snap. Married. Not available. Not worth your time. Definitely not worth the heartbreak. It's a lie, though, and she knows it. Even knowing how it ended, her heart in ruins, she thinks she'd live through it all again just to have him kiss her one more time. Sir, Meg presses. How long? Indefinitely, Mason says quietly, never looking away from Quinn. Meg nearly squeals, and that's when it becomes too much. Give it a rest, Quinn snaps, turning to Meg. He's married. Awkward silence. Quinn sees red. She's not the awkward one here. Meg is shamelessly flirting with yet another unavailable man, who also happens to be her ex, while said ex talks about booking a room at her inn as though that's remotely acceptable. Are you single? Quinn asks him directly. Mason blinks, looking genuinely caught off guard. I beg your pardon. My friend here, Quinn says, nodding toward Meg, has a habit of going after taken men. So can you just tell her you're married so we can all move forward? Mason opens and closes his mouth once. I'm not, he says carefully. Still engaged, then. Quinn pushes. Mason starts. There, see. Quinn turns to Meg triumphantly. Widowed, Mason finishes quietly. Quinn goes still. His wife is dead. She died, and he never thought to reach out. Never came back. But then again, it was never truly about that other woman, was it? Sorry for your loss, Quinn mutters, and turns to leave. Mason moves before she can register it. He always used to do that. One moment easygoing and calm, the next impossibly quick. His fingers wrap around her arm, spinning her back toward him. For the first time, he actually looks affected. Quinn, wait. Let go of me, she says. He hesitates. Let go of me, Mason, she snaps. He releases her slowly, reluctantly. I apologize, he murmurs. For what? She challenges. When he looks as lost and sad as she feels, Quinn gives a bitter smile. Yeah, she says quietly. I thought so. And she walks away. I'm losing my mind in here, Eva groans, pacing Jeremy's bedroom. My wolf is going crazy. Jeremy looks up from his comic. We could go to the park. Maybe the mall. Mom gave me $5. He reaches under his bed and pulls out his backpack. I can pack some clothes for you too. Eva's face lights up. Seriously? It's Saturday. We can be out all day. Jeremy stuffs a pair of jeans and a t-shirt into the bag. Eva rushes to the window, peering out at the sunshine, then goes completely still. Something wrong? Jeremy joins her. Eva points to a tall man in dark jeans and a fitted sweater walking the grounds behind the inn. Probably a guest, Jeremy says. He's not a guest, Eva whispers. That's my alpha. What? Jeremy leans closer to the glass, pulse spiking. That's your dad. Eva nods, pulling back from the window. He tracked me here. If he looks up right now, he might sense us. Jeremy yanks back from the glass. Can he actually break down doors? If he wanted to, Eva says simply. Jeremy watches the man outside more carefully. Something about the intensity in his search makes Jeremy's chest ache, but not from fear. His own father left before he was born. Never even sent a birthday card. And yet Eva's father crossed miles of wilderness searching for her. Maybe you should go to him, Jeremy says quietly. He's clearly worried. You don't understand what alphas are like when they're angry, Eva says, eyes flashing. I broke pack law when I ran. In the old days, wolves got banished for less. But he's your dad, Jeremy insists. Alpha first. Dad second, Eva says flatly. Always. She peeks at the window again, then ducks. Get down, he's coming this way. They scramble back from the glass. What do we do? Jeremy asks. We can't go outside if he's out there. Eva's expression hardens. We just need to be careful. If he tries to take me, tell everyone I'm your dog. He won't cause a scene, he's obsessed with keeping our existence secret from humans. Really? Trust me. My father lives for appearances. Okay. Jeremy swallows. You should probably be fangs when we go out. Eva nods and shifts smoothly into wolf form. The sandy pup looks up at Jeremy, tail low but ready. Jeremy grabs the leash, slings on his backpack, and takes a deep breath. Stay close. They head downstairs, Jeremy trying his hardest to look casual. The inn buzzes with Saturday guests checking in and out. More people meant more distractions. Better cover. At the bottom of the stairs, Jeremy peeks around the corner. Lobby clear. No sign of his mom. Just Meg at the front desk chatting with a couple. Come on, he whispers, guiding Eva gently toward the back hallway. They almost reach the garden door, then Eva freezes, hackles up. Jeremy follows her gaze through the window. Eva's father is right outside, crouched over something on the ground. They back away. Eva steers Jeremy toward the laundry room. The side door, barely used by guests, offers a view of the front of the inn. Eva's father has moved there now, still searching. Now, Jeremy breathes, easing the door open. They slip out, hugging the building's shadow toward the tree line. Almost there. Excuse me. Jeremy stops cold. Turns slowly. Eva's father stands 20 feet away, amber eyes locked on Eva. That's an unusual dog you have there, he says, voice casual, body anything but. Jeremy's mouth goes dry. She's a husky mix. The man steps closer. Eva presses hard against Jeremy's leg, trembling. Don't come any closer, Jeremy blurts. She's scared of strangers. The man's eyes narrow, studying Eva with quiet intensity. What's her name? Fangs. He moves closer. Jeremy holds his ground even though every instinct tells him to run. Eva growls low, a sound no dog could make. And the man, impossibly, growls right back. Eva, he says softly, with the absolute certainty of someone who's never had to repeat himself. Come here. Jeremy's stomach drops. Her name is Fangs, he says, voice cracking. And she's my pet. He's never been this scared in his life. Not even the time Tommy Wilson and his crew cornered him behind the school. But he won't abandon Eva. Then, like an answer from somewhere, he spots his mom on the back porch, up on a ladder trying to change a light bulb. The ladder sways badly beneath her. Mom! Jeremy shouts. The ladder tips. Eva's father spins around, and in a blur of motion no human could replicate, he crosses the yard and catches Quinn before she hits the ground. Just a little more, Quinn mutters, stretching from the top of the ladder. The porch light had been flickering for days, and she was finally fixing it. One more inch. Then she glances over. Jeremy is at the edge of the yard with Fangs and Mason. For a single heartbeat, she forgets she's balanced on a metal ladder 3 feet off the ground. Forgets everything except the way his eyes used to crinkle when he laughed. Anger surges. She moves too fast. The ladder tilts, her feet lose the rung, and she's falling. A short yelp escapes her before impact never comes. Strong arms catch her, pulling her firmly against a solid chest. She blinks. Looks up. Amber eyes staring down at her. What the hell? She breathes. Are you hurt? Mason asks, voice low and infuriatingly close. Where did you even come from? Quinn asks. You were all the way over there. She suddenly realizes she's still in his arms, one hand warm against her back, the other under her knees. The last time he'd held her this way was a weekend at the coast when he carried her into the ocean despite her screaming protests. You can put me down, she says, heat rising up her neck. Mason sets her down carefully, but his hands linger at her waist a moment too long. Are you hurt? He asks again. Just my pride. She wills her heartbeat to slow. Where did Jeremy go? He ran off with the dog when you fell. Quinn scoffs. So much for concern. Why were you talking to my son? She snaps, looking up at him. Your son. Something brief and unreadable crosses Mason's face. Relax. He isn't yours. Quinn watches Mason visibly exhale and scowls harder at that. Since he isn't, what did you want with him? I apologize if I overstepped. I was asking about his pet, Mason says carefully. He's a brave boy. Quinn raises an eyebrow. Jeremy had been called many things, cautious, mature, but never brave. He defended the wolf quite fiercely, Mason continues. Stood his ground. You should be proud. A flicker of warmth in Quinn's chest. Then suspicion. Stood his ground against what, exactly, she asks. Mason shifts slightly. I thought the wolf might be my daughter's dog. Excuse me. I was mistaken, he says quickly. Something flashes behind his eyes. Pain. Swiftly hidden. Quinn stares at him. So Mason has a daughter. A daughter who lost her mother. Her anger softens slightly, for the child, at least. It's not a dog, by the way, Quinn says. That's a wolf. So I noticed, Mason says dryly, not looking remotely surprised. You're not going to call animal control, are you? No. He raises both hands. I only came out here to help. Quinn narrows her eyes. Where is your daughter now? Did you leave her back with the, she pauses, choosing words, the family? Mason flinches. My family is not a cult, Quinn. From the outside. It absolutely looked like one. Her voice hardens. Clustered on that property. Homeschooled. Never letting outsiders in. Controlling who everyone spoke to, who they married. Her voice catches on the last word. You don't understand, Mason says. Your father decided your entire life, and you just went along with it, Quinn snaps. Mason's jaw tightens. My father is gone. I lead now. This stops her cold. Old man Keane had seemed untouchable, his authority absolute. Gone how? After what happened to my brother, Mason says, voice carefully flat. Things changed. What happened to Elliot? He's gone too. The pain beneath those two words is real. Quinn feels it despite herself. I'm sorry, she says, and means it. A moment of quiet settles between them. And my daughter, Mason continues, she didn't stay behind. She ran away. He glances toward the tree line. She doesn't want to come home. The raw weight in his voice hits Quinn somewhere she wasn't expecting. I failed her as a father, he says quietly. We all make mistakes. Quinn leans against the porch railing. Jeremy's been struggling since we moved. No friends, barely speaks. I wonder sometimes if I did the right thing, uprooting him for this inn. You did what you thought was best, Mason says simply. Did I? Or did I do what I wanted and convinced myself it was for him? Quinn sighs. You said he was brave. I've always worried he's too anxious, too cautious. His father left before he was even born, and I think. His father left. Mason's voice sharpens. We were 19. Classic story. He abandoned his child. Something dangerous moves behind Mason's eyes. He abandoned us both. But he wasn't the first to, was he? Quinn says flatly. Mason looks like he's been struck. That was different, he starts. Was it? She crosses her arms. At least Jeremy's father was honest about not wanting responsibility. You never even gave me that. I never lied about wanting you, Mason says quietly. He steps closer, close enough that she can see the flecks of gold in his eyes. Surely you know that. Don't, Quinn warns. For a moment, she thinks he'll push forward. The old Mason would have. But this Mason, older, heavier with things unspoken, simply nods and steps back. I should get back to work, Quinn says. That light still needs changing. Allow me. Mason moves to the ladder before she can argue and changes the bulb in seconds. When he hands her the old one, their fingers brush. Thank you, she says stiffly, stepping back. Mason nods. His eyes stay on hers. Quinn, I. She turns away. The past is the past. She has an inn to run, a son to raise, and no room left for reopening old wounds. After their narrow escape, Jeremy and Eva spent the rest of the day wandering the town park. Eva in human form, her red hair tucked under Jeremy's baseball cap, eyes wide at everything from the ice cream truck to the swings. We don't have anything like this in pack territory, she says in awe. You've never been on a swing? Jeremy asks, astonished. Dad says it's too dangerous to play with human children. Jeremy grabs her hand. Come on. Later, they sail paper boats across the small pond, racing them to the other side. This is so much better than training, Eva sighs happily. What kind of training? Shifting, tracking, fighting. All day, every day. She watches her boat drift. I never get to just, she gestures around, do this. Maybe ask for a day off. Eva laughs. You don't ask an alpha for anything. Back at the inn, Jeremy's mom is seated at her easel in the corner of the living room, paintbrush in hand, lost in a forest landscape. They eat pizza on the couch and watch a movie, Eva's wolf eyes glued to the screen the entire time. When Quinn slips out to answer the phone, Eva shifts to human form and pulls Jeremy's blanket around herself. Your mom is so cool, she whispers. She makes things. Actually beautiful things. She's always painted. Wanted to go to art school, then had me instead. Eva's face lights up. Can I see more? Jeremy leads her to the small studio in the spare room, canvases stacked against every wall, easels by the window. Eva moves slowly through it, touching the frames gently, until she spots a large portfolio leaning against the wall. What's in there? Mom's old stuff, I think. Eva pulls it open before Jeremy can protest. The first few pages are landscapes and sketches of a younger Jeremy. Then Eva gasps and holds up a portrait. Jeremy's jaw drops. A man, drawn in careful pencil detail, strong jaw, intense eyes. And unmistakably familiar. That's my dad, Eva breathes. They flip through the rest. A dozen drawings at least. Some quick, some detailed. One of him laughing, head thrown back. Another of him reading, expression soft. Why does your mom have all these? Jeremy asks. Because, Eva whispers, eyes enormous, she's totally into him. No way. Yes way. Eva sets the drawing down with great authority. Jeremy, are you thinking what I'm thinking? That this is incredibly awkward. Eva sighs deeply. No. I'm thinking, what if your mom started dating my dad? Why would they? Adult reasons. Eva waves her hand. The point is, your mom is so much cooler than anyone his counsel keeps pushing on him. And if they got together, we could hang out all the time. Jeremy is quiet for a moment. She does let me stay up late when I'm reading a good book, he admits. And she curses a lot, Eva adds enthusiastically. She's perfect. Jeremy grins despite himself. But how? Mom doesn't seem to like your dad much. And she holds grudges forever. She still won't eat at Denny's because they messed up her order 3 years ago. We just need to get them alone together, Eva says confidently. In a romantic situation. Like what? Trapped in an elevator. We don't have an elevator. Hiding in a small closet from danger. What danger? A bear. There are no bears here, Eva. I could pretend to be a bear. Jeremy just stares at her. Okay. Eva snaps her fingers. What if you pretend to lose something in the woods and we send your mom to find it, with my dad's help? Jeremy opens his mouth to object. Then stops. That might actually work, he admits. Eva grins like she's already won. Stupid trees all looking the same, Quinn mutters, sweeping her flashlight across the forest floor. Jeremy's father's compass. The one thing her son had from a man who'd never once shown up. Quinn had kept it safe for years, and now here she was, after dark, pushing through underbrush to find it. She probably should have thought this through. A twig snaps. Quinn spins. Flashlight raised like a weapon. A figure steps out from between the trees. You shouldn't be out here alone, says a familiar deep voice. Quinn's shoulders drop. Relief. Then irritation. I'm not alone anymore, am I? Mason steps fully into her beam of light. What are you doing out here? Your son mentioned you'd come into the woods. Thought you might need help. I don't, Quinn says flatly. Then sighs. Fine. But only because I really need to find this compass. Mason nods and starts off to the right without hesitation. Did you just choose a direction at random? Quinn calls, already following. I know these woods, he says simply. They walk in silence. Mason moves with the kind of effortless grace that's always quietly annoyed her. She trips over a root. He doesn't acknowledge it, which she appreciates. I almost didn't recognize you when I first checked in, he says after a while. You haven't changed at all, Quinn replies. Same expensive clothes. Same perfect posture. Same, she stops herself. Same what? Same ability to show up where you're not wanted. His quiet laugh surprises her. I seem to recall you once calling that one of my better qualities. The memory hits without warning, a rainy afternoon, a wrong turn, Quinn wandering lost through an unfamiliar neighborhood, and Mason appearing, as if summoned by her distress. That was different, Quinn says, but the edge has already left her voice. Mason kneels near the base of a large split oak and brushes aside a cluster of leaves. He stands, holding a small brass compass. Quinn takes it, their fingers brushing briefly. Thank you, she says quietly, tucking it into her pocket. They start back toward the inn. Tell me about Jeremy, Mason says after a moment. Quinn glances over, surprised. What do you want to know? What's he like? Patient. Careful. He weighs every option before making a move. She gives Mason a pointed look. You always knew exactly what you wanted, Mason says. Never hesitated. They walk quietly for a moment. And your daughter? Quinn asks. What's she like? Fierce. A faint smile crosses his face. Questions everything I say. She has this way of looking at you, like she's deciding whether you're worth her time. Nothing like her father, then, Quinn says lightly. Mason actually laughs. A warm, unguarded sound that sends an unexpected shiver through her. She's braver than I ever was, he murmurs. Follows her heart without thinking twice. Quinn hears what isn't said, that his daughter is brave in the ways he wasn't. In the ways that might have changed everything. They reach the inn's back door. Yellow kitchen light spills out onto the porch steps. Quinn pauses, turning to face him. Thank you, she says. For helping me find it. It means a lot to Jeremy. Mason steps slightly closer, just a fraction. I'm glad I could help. The moonlight catches in his amber eyes, and Quinn is pulled without warning into the memory of another night, years ago, under a different moon. His hands cradling her face. His voice barely above a whisper, saying things she'd held onto far longer than she should have. Quinn, he says now, soft, like a question he doesn't know how to ask. She knows she should step back. Go inside. Remember every reason this is a terrible idea. But her body leans toward him slightly, involuntarily. Mason's hand rises to her cheek, feather light, his eyes searching hers. For one suspended moment, she's certain he's about to kiss her. And part of her, a part she thought she'd buried, wants him to. Then something shifts behind his eyes. He pulls back. Hand drops away. I'm sorry, he says, voice strained. The withdrawal feels like a slap. Of course he wouldn't. He made his choice a long time ago. There are reasons, he starts. There always are with you, Quinn says. Always something holding you back. Quinn. Good night, Mason. She steps inside and closes the door, pressing her back against it in the dark. The compass is cold in her palm. She won't name the feeling sitting heavy in her chest. But it's there. Stubborn and persistent as ever. Longing. They almost kissed, Eva whispers, pacing the bedroom in one of Jeremy's t-shirts, her red hair wild around her face. I saw them through the window. But they didn't, Jeremy points out, spinning the compass between his fingers. Your dad backed off. That's a detail, Eva says, waving it away. The point is, they wanted to. Did you see your mom's face when she came inside? He had noticed. She'd tried to act normal. Her eyes gave her away. The compass idea worked, Jeremy admits. Told you. Eva drops onto the mattress beside him. But we need to do more. They're fighting it. Fighting what? Eva stares at him. Their feelings, Jeremy. Grown-ups always make it complicated. So what now? We get sneakier. Eva grabs a notebook and starts scribbling. More strategic. Jeremy watches her, a quiet flutter of hope settling somewhere in his chest. Maybe this ridiculous plan could actually work. Maybe he'd finally have a dad who stayed. And Eva could finally have a mom who let her just be a kid. Quinn doesn't notice it at first. How naturally Mason fits into the rhythm of Pine Haven Inn. When the ancient coffee maker dies on a busy Saturday morning, Mason appears in the kitchen with a toolbox, sleeves rolled up, grinning at her. You always did break things when you were stressed. I'm not stressed, Quinn lies, taking the screwdriver he hands her. She watches his hands move, quiet, steady, certain, and her mind slides somewhere it has no business going. Those same hands on her skin. Threading through her hair. She exhales and looks away. When the spring rain traps them both under the garden gazebo, the world dissolving into grey sheets and dripping leaves, Mason stands close enough that she can feel the warmth radiating off him without them touching. Looks like we're stuck, he says, eyes on the storm. We'll dry, Quinn says, wrapping her arms around herself. You remember that storm in Portland? Her stomach tightens. She remembers far too well, running through the city soaked and laughing, ducking into that old bookshop. Mason pressing her against a wall of antique maps. Books forgotten. Everything else forgotten. No, she says, too quickly. Mason glances down at her. Liar. 23 minutes of silent stretch between them, soaked in memory and everything neither of them will say. When the water heater dies Tuesday evening, Quinn is standing in the basement glaring at the tank when footsteps come down the stairs. Let me guess, she mutters. You just happened to be nearby. Your inn has terrible luck, Mason says, setting down a flashlight and a wrench. Fortunately, I'm extremely handy. It's not just broken appliances. Mason appears on her morning walks, falling into step beside her without asking. When the firewood delivery arrives, Mason is already unloading logs, sleeves pushed up, shirt clinging to his back. Quinn hates how beautiful he is. Hates how natural it feels watching him here, helping, smiling, like he belongs. And she really hates how badly she wants to touch him. One evening she finds him in the library, turning pages of a worn poetry book. She stops breathing. Still reading Blake. Their eyes meet. The silence pulls taut. She remembers reading those same poems to him in bed, his fingers tracing slow lines across her stomach while she whispered stanzas into the dark. Meanwhile, Jeremy is somehow thriving, lighter, laughing more, especially when Fangs is around. One night Quinn passes his door and hears him speaking in a low, conspiratorial tone. Of course she'd want extra pepperoni. Mom always forgets. A pause. No, I didn't tell him. Should I? Quinn frowns, pressing closer. No other voice. Just Jeremy, and the soft shuffle of paws on the floor. She mentions it to Meg later. Kids and their pets, Meg shrugs, then leans in. But can we talk about how Mr. Broody Wolf literally cannot stop staring at you? He practically inhaled you at breakfast. He did not, Quinn says, turning away to hide the flush creeping up her neck. The tension between you two, Meg grins, is thick enough to spread on toast. Quinn mutters something obscene and buries herself in paperwork. That evening, she's on the back porch painting the sunset. Strokes uneven. Thoughts a mess. Then the air shifts, and she doesn't need to turn around. She knows it's him. You still paint, Mason murmurs, warm and close behind her. Some habits don't die. His standing too near. Her body remembers too much, the weight of him, the taste, the way he used to whisper her name. Meg's voice cuts through the moment. Quinn. Phone call. Mrs. Henderson. She walks away before she changes her mind. But the ache stays. The next morning, Mason appears in the breakfast room holding something that makes Quinn's stomach sink. Her sketch folder. The one buried under journals and tax forms in the bottom drawer of her art desk. The one full of a younger Mason, shirtless, asleep, laughing. The version of him she never truly let go. I found these in my room, he says, voice unreadable. You weren't supposed to see those. I didn't think you'd kept them. He holds up one drawing, him on a balcony, reading. Quinn snatches the folder. They're private. You kept them. It doesn't mean anything. It does. His voice is quiet. Steady. Why did you draw so many portraits of me if? Oh, for crying out loud, Mason. Quinn snaps. Like you needed more proof of how much I loved you. I loved you so much it scared me. And then you left. Mason steps closer. What about now? He asks. She can't speak. How do you feel now? He presses. Her hands tighten around the folder. Her heart hammers. What does it matter? She whispers. He raises a hand and cups her cheek with aching gentleness. It matters to me. Then he kisses her. No warning. No hesitation. 10 years of longing crashing into one breathless, desperate moment. She drops the folder. Pages scatter. Her hands bury in his shirt, his hair. His arms pull her in like they'll never let go. She arches into him, gasping as his lips move from her mouth to her jaw and back again. It's reckless and messy and unforgivable. It's everything she's missed. Everything she still wants. And it's only the beginning. They kissed, Eva whispers fiercely, bouncing on Jeremy's bed. In the breakfast room. They actually kissed. How do you know? Did you see them? I smelled it on my dad. She taps her nose. He smelled like your mom's perfume and happiness. Happiness has a smell. Jeremy asks, amazed. Everything has a smell. And my dad was basically covered in I just kissed someone I really like scent. Jeremy scrunches his nose. Gross. But also awesome. They high-five, grinning like co-conspirators. Operation Parent Trap, total success, Eva declares. Over the next few days, they watch with quiet delight as their parents fail spectacularly at being discreet. Quinn and Mason brush hands while passing coffee in the breakfast room. Both invent excuses to visit the storage closet at the same time. Mason leans in to whisper something in Quinn's ear that makes her blush, deeply. Mom wore lipstick to take out the trash yesterday. Jeremy snickers. Because your dad was out chopping wood, Eva counters. My dad changed his shirt 3 times before dinner. I've never once seen him care about clothes. They retreat to Jeremy's room, collapsing in muffled laughter. It's kind of weird though, Jeremy admits eventually. Seeing my mom all giggly. My dad actually smiled at breakfast, Eva says solemnly. With teeth. The whole pack would lose it. Jeremy fiddles with his comic. A thought surfaces. What happens when your dad goes back to your pack? Will you go with him? Eva's smile fades. I don't know. I haven't thought about it. Silence falls between them, the weight of reality pressing in. Maybe they'll fall in love for real, Jeremy offers. And we could all stay together. Eva brightens. My dad might even thank me instead of grounding me for running away. You think? Probably not, she admits. But maybe for less time. She tilts her head suddenly, studying Jeremy. Your glasses. Jeremy's hand goes to the taped frame. What about them? This is the second time this week they've been broken. What happened? Gym class, Jeremy mutters, dropping his eyes to his comic. Got bumped. You're lying. Eva scoots closer. I can smell it. That's not fair. It absolutely is. What happened, Jeremy? He sighs. Sets the comic down. Just some guys at school. Tommy Wilson and his friends. It's no big deal, they're jerks to everyone. They broke your glasses on purpose, Eva says, voice rising. Sure. Jeremy glances at the door. I said it's fine. If Mom finds out, she'll go to the school, make a whole scene, and then it gets worse. He picks at the tape. Besides, she's happy right now. I don't want to ruin that. Eva growls, an actual, wolf-like growl. This isn't right. In the pack, no one would dare treat you this way. I'm not in a pack, Eva. I can't growl at people. You are in a pack, Eva says, with such quiet certainty that Jeremy blinks. You're my pack. Jeremy stares at her. Being pack isn't about shifting, she continues. It's about loyalty, trust, having each other's backs. She reaches out and squeezes his hand. You're not alone anymore, Jeremy. He squeezes back. Something loosens in his chest, warm and unfamiliar. All his life, it had been him and his mom against everything. Having someone else, having a pack. It feels like having a family. Afternoon light filters through the curtains, casting a warm glow across Quinn's bedroom. She lies with her head on Mason's chest, listening to his heartbeat. I've missed this, he murmurs, pressing his lips to her forehead. Quinn laughs softly. You saw me this morning. And last night. And yesterday in the supply closet. You know what I mean. She does. It's not just these past weeks of stolen moments. It's the decade they lost. The life they might have shared. She props herself up, studying his face in the warm light. Some of the weight he always carries seems temporarily lifted. Why did you really leave? She asks. What happened? Mason's expression shifts. He takes a slow breath, eyes fixed on the ceiling. My family was in crisis. They needed me. Does it have to do with Elliot? His jaw tightens. Yes. He goes quiet, body stiffening beside her. The familiar walls going up. But something in his expression stops Quinn's usual sharp response. Raw, deep pain beneath the surface. For once, she chooses patience. She takes his hand, threading her fingers through his. You don't have to tell me everything. But I would have wanted to be there for you then. And I want to be here now. Mason turns to her, gratitude and anguish mixing in his eyes. I want to tell you everything. He trails off, looking torn. Almost frightened. What are you so afraid of? Myself, he answers quietly. Quinn frowns. Before she can press further, he brings their joined hands to his lips. Just promise you won't leave, she says instead. Not like before. Not without telling me. I promise, Mason says, meeting her eyes. Even when your daughter comes home. Yes. A small smile. Though who knows when that will be. Any leads? I know where she is, Mason says, something almost peaceful in his tone. I know she's safe and happy. Quinn studies him, puzzled by his certainty. Thank you, Mason says suddenly. For what? For more than you know, he replies, in that quiet, cryptic way of his. Quinn glances at the clock and reluctantly pulls herself free. I want to surprise Jeremy at school. She pauses while buttoning her shirt and turns back. Want to come? Mason looks genuinely surprised. You want me to meet your son? You've already met him. That's different. He almost looks shy, which seems absurd on a man like him. Quinn laughs. We can get ice cream after. In or out? A slow smile crosses his face. In. Perfect. We just need to grab Fangs first. Quinn reaches for her shoes. Don't worry, she's been very well behaved around you lately. She'd better be, Mason mutters. What? Nothing. He climbs out of bed quickly. 40 minutes later, they're walking toward the elementary school, Fangs trotting beside them. Quinn notices how closely Mason watches the wolf, alert, almost protective. Fangs, for her part, stays unusually still and quiet near him, as if on her absolute best behavior. School's just around the corner, Quinn says, her stomach fluttering. She wants Jeremy to like Mason. Wants her son to feel comfortable, safe, welcomed into this new thing quietly taking shape. Suddenly Fangs stops. Her ears prick. Body stiffens. What's wrong with her? Quinn tightens her grip on the leash. Mason frowns, watching the wolf. I don't know. Fangs begins to whine, a high, thin sound. She paws the ground, quivering, then suddenly bolts, yanking the leash clean from Quinn's hand. Eva, no. Mason stops himself. Quinn barely catches the name as they both break into a run. They round the corner of the building, and Quinn's heart drops. Jeremy is backed against a wall, 3 larger boys surrounding him. One holds his glasses just out of reach, grinning. Give them back, Tommy, Jeremy says, his voice steadier than he looks. Make me, 4 eyes. Fangs hits the bully before either adult can reach them, launching forward with a ferocious growl, knocking the boy flat and standing over him with bared teeth. Fangs, no. Jeremy cries. Ava. Mason's voice carries something strange, a low, commanding weight that raises the hair on Quinn's arms. Stop. Now. The wolf immediately backs off. Head dropping. Body lowering in submission. Mason grabs her by the scruff, his face drained of color, jaw locked tight. How could you, he hisses at the wolf, voice barely audible. I taught you better. This boy is human. Do you understand what could have happened? The wolf whimpers. Shrinks beneath his gaze. Quinn stares. It looks exactly like a father scolding a child. She rushes to Jeremy, hands moving over his arms, his face. Are you hurt? I'm fine, Mom. It is not fine. She spins toward the bully, pale, trembling, still clutching Jeremy's glasses. She holds out her hand. He surrenders them instantly and backs away with his friends. When Quinn turns back, Mason is holding Fangs in his arms, expression shattered. Mason, what's going on? What did you call her? He backs away, face tight with anguish. This was a mistake, he says, voice hollow. I'm sorry, Quinn. What? Wait. But he's already turning, striding across the schoolyard toward a black SUV parked at the curb. A car she's never seen before. He sets Fangs in the passenger seat and gets in. Mason. The engine roars. The car pulls away. Quinn stands in the empty schoolyard, holding Jeremy's broken glasses, her heart cracking open all over again. Mom. Jeremy's voice is small behind her. What just happened? She pulls him close, watching the SUV disappear around the corner. I don't know, baby, she whispers. But the cold feeling settling in her chest says otherwise. 24 hours since her father pulled her away from Jeremy and Quinn. 24 hours of whispered conversations, sideways glances from pack members, and her father's suffocating silence. Tears slide down Eva's face, one after another. This was exactly why she ran in the first place. At the inn, she wasn't judged for being an imperfect shifter. They didn't care about protocol or pack politics. They were just happy. A soft knock. Eva. Her father's voice. Tentative. Nothing like yesterday's command. Go away, she mutters, not quite loud enough to mean it. The door opens. Mason steps inside, looking exhausted. Dark circles, rumpled clothes. He approaches carefully, as if unsure of his welcome. I want to apologize for taking you away like that, he says quietly. But when I saw you attack that boy, I wouldn't have hurt him, Eva cuts in. You weren't in control, Mason snaps. I was. So you intentionally attacked a human. His face darkens. Do you hear yourself? Have you forgotten the punishment for that? He was bullying Jeremy. Eva cries. He broke his glasses and laughed about it. Mason's mouth closes. Something moves behind his eyes. Conflict, protectiveness, and rigid law pulling in opposite directions. You agree, Eva says, voice breaking. Don't you? You know I was right. Mason breathes slowly. I understand you wanted to defend him, he says carefully. But using our powers against humans risks exposing our entire pack. It isn't fair, Eva, not to them, and not to us. She drops her gaze. She knows he's right. I'd never have actually hurt him, she admits. Even so. His voice is final. I can't allow you to keep seeing Jeremy. He's my best friend. Then do what's right for him. Eva looks up sharply. What about his mom? I know you like her, Dad. I saw you kissing. Mason rubs his face. You saw that. Obviously. He sinks onto the edge of her bed, shoulders heavy. Quinn and I, it's not possible, Eva. That's stupid, Eva blurts. Language. That's crap, Eva corrects. We were happy there. Why can't we go back? Mason's eyes go distant, somewhere far away. There's something you need to know, he says. Eva sits beside him, suddenly still. Your Uncle Elliot, Mason begins, was everything an alpha should be. Controlled. Strong. He was supposed to lead, not me. He pauses. Eva waits. When we were in our early 20s, Elliot had been seeing a girl from town. A human named Claire. He kept it secret. It was forbidden. One night while we were running the woods, we heard screaming. We found Claire being attacked. Men from town, drunk, holding her down. Eva's eyes go wide. Elliot lost complete control. Mason continues, his voice hollow. He shifted, fully, in front of them all. He went for the leader's throat and tore it open. Eva's hand flies to her mouth. By the time I pulled him off, the man was dead. The others had run. And they had seen everything. Oh my God, Eva breathes. We went home. Told our father. The council convened. Mason stares at his hands. Elliot couldn't become alpha after that. He goes quiet for a moment. He was executed for his crime. Eva gasps. Tears spill silently down her face. A human life was taken, Mason says. There's only one punishment under pack law. He exhales. Your grandfather died of a broken heart not long after. And suddenly, I was alpha. Not because I was chosen already. Just because there was no one else. Eva throws her arms around him. She can feel him trembling. I'm so sorry, Dad, she sobs. I was trying to protect you from the weight of all this. His hand cups the back of her head. You understand now why I've been strict about control. Eva pulls back, pieces falling into place. And that's why you left Quinn. Mason nods. When Elliot died and I became alpha, I knew I couldn't stay with her. What if I lost control? What if I hurt her? His gaze settles on Eva. And later, after your mother, I couldn't risk exposing you to the human world. Couldn't let history repeat itself. But, Dad, I would never. You already did, he says gently. Yesterday. When you saw Jeremy being bullied, you lost control. Eva leans against his shoulder, the fight draining out of her. She understands now. The fear in his eyes at the schoolyard wasn't anger or disappointment. It was terror at what almost happened. So I'm grounded, she says quietly. For running away. Absolutely, Mason confirms, and there's the faintest note of relief in returning to something familiar. For a very long time. And Jeremy and Quinn. Mason's arm tightens around her. It's better for everyone if we stay away. Eva curls against her father, comforted and heartbroken at once. She doesn't want to let him down, not now that she finally understands what he's been carrying all these years. But as the night deepens, the room feels too large, too silent. No Jeremy and his endless questions. No Quinn checking in before turning out the lights. No creaky floorboards or smell of morning coffee. She misses feeling normal. Feeling like just Eva, not the alpha's daughter, not an imperfect shifter, just herself. She understands why they can't go back. She just doesn't know how to stop wishing they could. 1 week. That's how long it's been since Eva and Mason disappeared from Pine Haven. No more secret conversations, no more adventures, no more feeling like he finally belongs somewhere. What makes it worse is watching his mother pretend she's fine. Quinn smiles too brightly, laughs too loud, never mentions Mason or Eva. But Jeremy knows. He hears her crying at night when she thinks he's asleep. Past midnight, he follows the soft sounds to her studio. The door is cracked open, warm light spilling into the hallway. Quinn sits on the floor, holding a small photograph Jeremy has never seen before. Mom. She startles, quickly wiping her eyes. Hey, kiddo. What are you doing up? Couldn't sleep. Jeremy sits beside her. Is that him? Quinn looks down at the photo. For a moment he thinks she'll deflect. Instead, she hands it to him. That was a long time ago. Before you. Jeremy studies it. His mom looks different, lighter somehow, freer. And Mason looks younger, unburdened. You loved him, Jeremy says. Not a question. Quinn lets out a long breath, gathering some loose sketches into a pile. When he came back, I was furious, she says softly. But somewhere along the way I started to forgive him. Thought maybe we could try again. She shakes her head. I just wish I understood why he keeps running. Jeremy stares at his hands. Guilt churns in his stomach. He knows exactly why Mason left. But he promised Eva. I'm sorry, Mom, he says quietly. Quinn turns and looks at him, really looks, and her expression softens immediately. Oh, baby. She pulls him into a hug. I've been so caught up in my own mess that I forgot to ask how you're doing. Without Fangs. Without your friend. Jeremy swallows hard as she strokes his hair. Maybe we'll find you a new dog. No. The word leaves Jeremy's mouth harder than he meant it. I don't want a new dog. Quinn presses a kiss to his hair. Come on. It's late. But sleep doesn't come. Jeremy lies still, staring up at the ceiling, the room feeling hollow without Eva. His mom is probably doing the same, lying alone, missing Mason. If only there was a way to fix it. Some bridge between their world and the shifters. The thought keeps circling as he tosses in his sheets. Eventually, nature calls. He creeps down the dark hallway, reaches the bathroom door, and turns the handle slowly. The moment he steps through, something shifts, like a wave of electricity passing through his body. Daylight floods his eyes. He blinks. He's not in the bathroom. He's standing in a bookshop. Tall shelves tower on either side of him, sunlight falling through old windows onto a worn wooden floor. Hello. His voice disappears into the silence. He reaches out and drags his fingers along a shelf. The dust is real. Too real for a dream. A creak echoes somewhere ahead. He follows a warm glow around a corner and finds a young woman sitting on a desk, lazily flipping through a magazine. Strawberry blonde hair twisted into a messy bun, ears lined with piercings. Excuse me. She screams, sending the magazine flying. Jeremy stumbles back, hands up. Sorry. I didn't mean to startle you. The girl grips her chest, glaring. How did you get in here? Honestly, I opened my bathroom door. Her irritation softens into curiosity. Life finds a way. She notices his shirt. Jurassic Park fan. He glances down at the dinosaur print. It was my mom's. A tall, thin man steps into view, copper hair pointing in every direction, eyes so green they almost glow. Iris, did you break something again? Relax. He just appeared. He's a client. The man tilts his head at Jeremy. Name? Jeremy Davis. I'm Adrian. This is Iris. Now that we've been introduced, you may leave. Go where? Jeremy looks around. I don't even know how I ended up here. Adrian sighs. Iris hops off the desk. Okay, short version, this is a wish shop. Adrian grants wishes. And before you get excited, there's always a price. A big one. He takes whatever you love most. What kind of wishes? Jeremy asks. Any kind, Adrian replies. People arrive here when they need a solution to something they cannot solve on their own. Something they desperately want. Jeremy's mind immediately goes to his mom. To Eva. To Mason. To the impossible gap between their two worlds. Can you really grant any wish? There are conditions, Adrian says carefully. And consequences. He means the price is steep, Iris adds. And it's never what you'd expect. Not money. Usually something like your ability to love, or a memory you can never replace. Jeremy is quiet for a moment. Then, slowly, I want to bring Eva back. And her dad. I want my mom to be happy again. Adrian's expression shifts. A family matter. Jeremy nods and explains. Mason leaving because he's a werewolf, the danger of mixing their worlds, a bite that would kill a human. He's not wrong to be cautious, Adrian admits. Shifters and humans rarely survive proximity. But they love each other, Jeremy insists. And Eva is my best friend. Wait, Jeremy's eyes go wide. Could I wish for us to become werewolves too? So there's no danger. The room goes still. Adrian's posture changes. Something shifts behind those green eyes. You could, he says slowly. But the price, Jeremy, would be significant. Tell him, Iris says quietly. Adrian kneels down to eye level. What you value most is the hope of one day meeting your father. The words land like stones. Jeremy goes quiet. His father, a vague, shadowy figure he's never met, but somehow always held on to. The quiet hope that maybe, someday, that man would want to know him. He left before I was born, Jeremy murmurs. Yet you've never let go of the possibility, Adrian says softly. Jeremy is still for a long moment. Then Eva's laugh fills his mind. His mother's warmth. The joy that had filled their home when Mason and Eva were still there. I want to make the wish. His voice is steady. A dad who never came back isn't worth more than my mom's happiness. I want us to have a real family, one that actually loves us. Adrian nods. Then I will make it so that a shifter's bite, should your mother choose it, will transform her safely instead of harming her. The same goes for you. There will be no barrier keeping you from your shifter family. Jeremy takes a breath. I wish that my mom and I could safely become wolf shifters, if we ever choose to. Adrian closes his eyes. Shadows deepen around him. When he opens them again, they glow. Quinn wakes up alone. The bed is too wide. Mason's pillow still carries the faint scent of pine and cold air. She pulls it close for just a moment before forcing herself up. The mirror shows the evidence, dark circles, tangled hair, hollow eyes. She splashes water on her face and reaches for the door. And stops. Fangs is sitting right outside her room, sandy fur glowing in the morning light, amber eyes watching Quinn with that unsettling intelligence. Oh my God. Quinn drops to her knees and wraps her arms around the wolf. You came back. Fangs wags her tail once, then pulls away and trots straight into Jeremy's room. Hey, he's at school right now. But the wolf isn't looking for Jeremy. She nudges the closet open, rummages around, and emerges with one of Jeremy's oversized sweaters clamped in her teeth. She looks directly at Quinn. Then Quinn screams. Where the wolf had been standing, there is now a small girl, wild red hair, bright blue eyes, clutching the sweater against herself like a dress. Please don't be scared, the girl says quickly. Quinn backs into the doorframe. You're. My name is Eva. Quinn's knees give. She slides down the wall to the floor. Mason's Eva. Yes. The girl sits cross-legged in front of her. I've been with you the whole time. Jeremy knew. I stayed with you guys for weeks. Quinn presses her hands to her temples. So Fangs was never just a dog. No. Eva's voice goes soft. I promised my dad I wouldn't come back. But I had to say goodbye properly. And thank you, for being kind to me. For making me feel like I had a real mom. Her voice cracks. I would have loved for you to be my mom. Tears spill from Eva's eyes, and instinct takes over. Quinn reaches forward and pulls the girl into her arms. Eva clings to her, shaking. Does your father know you're here? Quinn asks gently. No. Please don't tell him. Eva wipes her eyes. He can shift too. That's why we had to leave. If a werewolf bites a human, it kills them. It happened to my Uncle Elliot. He bit someone to protect a friend. The human died, and Elliot was executed. My grandfather died of grief. And my dad had to become alpha, and leave you. Everything clicks into place. Quinn sits with the weight of it, a decade of confusion, of feeling abandoned, finally making sense. Mason hadn't chosen to leave. He'd been pushed out by tragedy, terrified of becoming his brother's mistake. He loves you, Eva whispers. He's been sad every single day. They're just getting up when there's a knock at the door. Quinn opens it, and there is Mason. Amber eyes wide. And beside him, Jeremy, looking both nervous and hopeful. Nobody moves. I have your kid, Mason says finally, his voice rough. And I have yours, Quinn replies. They stare at each other. 10 years of things unsaid suspended between them. I shouldn't have left the way I did, Mason starts. I think I understand why you did, Quinn says quietly. She does, Dad, Eva announces. I told her. Mason looks between them. You told her. Quinn reaches out and takes his hand. Is it true? A long pause. His shoulders drop. Yes, it's true. So many times I wanted to tell you, he says, voice breaking. I was ready to leave everything, my pack, my family, for you. But then Elliot. I know, Quinn says softly. I didn't trust myself around you. I still don't, especially now that you have a child. Tears run down Quinn's cheeks. She doesn't want to risk Jeremy. No matter what she feels for Mason. Well, about that, Jeremy steps forward. I actually fixed it. What? Quinn and Mason say together. You fixed it. Eva screams, bouncing. Jeremy explains, the bookshop, Adrian, the wish, the price. You made a life-altering deal with an unknown dark magician, Mason says slowly, without telling anyone. Yeah, but now we can all be together. Quinn and Mason exchange a glance, just a look, but it holds everything. Love, fear, hope. The fragile, impossible possibility of a future they'd both stopped letting themselves imagine. Then Quinn turns to her son, Jeremy Davis. Her voice carries every ounce of motherly fury she owns. You are in so much trouble. I can't believe they grounded you, Eva says, pacing his room. You literally solved everything. You're a hero. Parents are impossible. It's fine. Jeremy sits on the windowsill, watching their parents in the garden below. Mason and Quinn stand close together, hands intertwined, heads bent in quiet conversation. It was worth it. Eva goes quiet for a moment, then sits beside him, picking at a loose thread on the bedspread. What did the magician take from you? She asks softly. What was the price? The possibility of ever meeting my father. Eva's eyes go wide. Jeremy, that's your dad. Is it? He watches Mason laugh at something Quinn says. He left. He's never been my father, not really. He pauses. I hope someday I know what having one feels like, though. Eva doesn't say anything. She just throws her arms around him. He hugs her back just as hard. When they look out the window again, their parents are kissing. You, they say together, then burst out laughing. We actually did it, Eva whispers. Jeremy grins. Yeah, we really did. Epilogue. The garden is transformed. Fairy lights wrap every branch, white roses bloom impossibly late in October, and the whole pack fills the rows of chairs watching Quinn say forever to the man she never truly stopped loving. Now, alone in their room while the celebration carries on downstairs, Quinn watches Mason pace, shirt half open, hair a mess from anxious hands. Are you certain? He asks again. She steps forward, placing her palms flat on his chest. We've been over this 100 times. I'm certain. He cups her face. I can't bear the thought of hurting you. You won't, she says. The magician assured it. You talk to others who've used his magic. And Jeremy is already asking when it's his turn. That softens him. The tension in his jaw releases. I love you, she whispers. Trust that. Mason closes his eyes. When he opens them, the wolf flickers behind the amber. He kisses her, deep, slow, full of every promise they've ever made and broken and made again. When he pulls back, his eyes are glowing. Quinn tilts her head back without hesitation. The bite steals her breath. Fire races through her veins, bones shifting, body remaking itself from the inside out. Mason's voice guides her through every second of it. Then, stillness. She blinks, standing on all fours. The world is overwhelming, sharper, louder, richer. She can smell the wedding cake 3 floors down. She can feel the vibration of music through the walls. In the mirror, a silver-streaked wolf stares back at her with Quinn's own eyes. And she can feel Mason, not just beside her, but somewhere inside her chest. His love, his relief, his joy, all of it washing over her like sunlight. What is this? She thinks. The mate bond, he answers, his voice somehow inside her mind. We'll complete it properly later. Right now, you need to run. They slip into the dark together, 2 wolves under a full moon, moving through the trees like they were always meant to do this. When they return, breathless and glowing, they shift back. Quinn steps close to Mason, the bond pulling between them like a current. How do you feel? He asks. Alive, she breathes. More alive than I've ever been. She kisses him slowly, then draws back with a soft smile. My turn. She bites his neck. He shudders. The bond ignites, their thoughts, their feelings, rushing together like rivers joining. I love you, she thinks. His answer comes back instantly, wordless and overwhelming. Mason cups her face. Forever, he says. Forever, she echoes. Downstairs, Jeremy and Eva are laughing. The pack is still celebrating. Her family. Her home. Her future. Quinn Davis, Luna of the Pine Haven pack, smiles against her mate's shoulder.